A man escapes from prison where he has been for 15 years. He breaks into a house to look for money and guns and finds a young couple in bed. He orders the guy out of bed and ties him to a chair. While tying the girl to the bed, he gets on top of her, kisses her neck, then gets up and goes into the bathroom. While he's in there, the husband tells his wife, "Listen, this guy's an escaped convict. Look at his clothes. He probably spent lots of time in jail and hasn't seen a woman in years. I saw how he kissed your neck. If he wants us *X, don't resist, don't complain. Do whatever he tells you. Satisfy him no matter how much he nauseates you. This guy is probably very dangerous. If he gets angry, he'll kill us. Be strong, honey. I love you." To which his wife responds, "He wasn't kissing my neck. He was whispering in my ear. He told me he was gay, thought you were cute, and asked me if we had any Vaseline. I told him it was in the bathroom. Be strong, honey. I love you too." Jim decided to propose to Sandy, but prior to her acceptance, Sandy had to confess to her man about her childhood illness. She informed Jim that she suffered a disease that left her breasts at maturity of 12 years old. He stated that it was okay because he loved her so much. "I too have a problem. My penis is the same size as an infant, and I hope you could deal with that once we are married," she said. "Yes, I will marry you and learn to live with your infant penis." Sandy and Jim got married and they could not wait, so Jim whisked Sandy off to their hotel suite, and they started touch-teasing, holding one another. As Sandy put her hands in Jim's pants, she began to scream and ran out of the room. Jim ran after her to find out what was wrong. She said, "You told me your penis was the size of an infant." "Yes, it is. 8 pounds, 7 ounces, 19 inches long." The head nun tells the two new nuns that they have to paint their room without getting any paint on their clothes. So the one nun says to the other, "Hey, let's take all our clothes off, fold them up, and lock the door." So they do this and begin painting their room. Soon they hear a knock at the door. They ask, "Who is it? Blind man?" The nuns look at each other. Then one nun says, "He's blind, he can't see. What could it hurt?" They let him in. The blind man walks in and says, "Hey, nice *TS. Where do you want me to hang the blinds?" The woman decided to have a facelift for her birthday. She spent $5,000 and felt really good about the results. On her way home, she stopped at a dress shop to look around. As she was leaving, she said to the sales clerk, "I hope you don't mind me asking, but how old do you think I am?" "About 35, he replied. "I'm actually 47, the woman said, feeling really happy. After that, she went into McDonald's for lunch and asked the order taker the same question. He replied, "Oh, you look about 29. "I am actually 47, she said, feeling really good. While standing at the bus stop, she asked an old man the same question. He replied, "I am 85 years old and my eyesight is going. But when I was young, there was a sure way of telling a woman's age. If I put my hand up your skirt, I will be able to tell your exact age." There was no one around, so the woman said, "What the hell?" and let him slip his hand up her skirt. After feeling around for a while, the old man said, "Okay, you are 47. Stunned, the woman said, "That was brilliant. How did you do that?" The old man replied, "I was behind you in line at McDonald's." Little Billy came home from school to see the family's pet rooster dead in the front yard. Rigor mortis had set in, and it was flat on its back with its legs in the air. When his dad came home, Billy said, "Dad, our rooster's dead, and his legs are sticking in the air." "Why are his legs sticking in the air?" His father, thinking quickly, said, "Son, that's so God can reach down from the clouds and lift the rooster straight up to heaven." "Gee, Dad, that's great," said little Billy. A few days later, when Dad came home from work, Billy rushed out to meet him, yelling, Dad, we almost lost Mom today." "What do you mean?" said Dad. "Well, Dad, I got home from school early today and went up to your bedroom, and there was Mom flat on her back with her legs in the air screaming, 'Jesus, I'm coming. If it hadn't have been for Uncle George holding her down, we'd have lost her for sure." Husband always insisted on making love in the dark. After 20 years, wife turns on the light, finds him holding a vibrator. She goes ballistic. "You impotent *Scarred, how could you lie to me all these years?" Husband looks her straight in the eyes and calmly says, "I'll explain the toy, you explain the kids." A farmer goes out and buys a new young rooster. As soon as he brings him home, the young rooster rushes and screws all 150 of the farmer's hens. The farmer is impressed. At lunchtime, the young rooster again screws all 150 hens. The farmer is not just impressed anymore, he is worried. Next morning, not only is the rooster screwing the hens, but he is screwing the turkeys, ducks, even the cow. Later, farmer looks out into the barnyard and finds the rooster stretched out, limp as a rag, his eyes closed, dead, and vultures circling overhead. The farmer runs out, looks down at the young rooster's limp body and says, "You deserved it, you horny bastard." And the young rooster opens one eye, points up at the vultures with his wing, and says, "Shush, they are about to land." Two older women were outside their nursing home having a smoke when it started to rain. One of the ladies pulled out a condom, cut off the end, put it over her cigarette, and continued smoking. "First lady, what's that?" Second lady, "A condom. This way my cigarette doesn't get wet." First lady, "Where did you get it?" Second lady, "You can get them at any drugstore." The next day, lady one hobbles herself into the local drugstore and announces to the pharmacist that she wants a box of condoms. The guy, obviously embarrassed, looks at her strangely. She is, after all, over 80 years old, but very delicately asks what brand she prefers. "Doesn't matter, son, as long as it fits a camel." Walking home after a girls' night out, two women pass a graveyard and stop to pee. The first woman has nothing to wipe with, so she uses her underwear and tosses it. Her friend, however, finds a ribbon on a wreath, so she uses that. The next day, the first woman's husband phones the second woman's husband, furious. "My wife came home last night without her panties." "That's nothing," says the other. "Mine came back with a card stuck between her butt cheeks that said, 'From all of us at the fire station, we'll never forget you.'" Two cowboys talking about S***. One cowboy says, "I like the rodeo position." "I haven't heard of that," says the other cowboy. "What is it?" "Well, get your girlfriend down on all fours and mount her from behind. Then reach round and cup both of her breasts and whisper, 'These feel just like your sisters.' And try and hold on for 8 seconds. A guy walks into the bar of a restaurant and goes to the bartender and asks, "How much for a beer?" The bartender replies, $1. The customer, completely amazed, orders a beer, then asks the bartender, "Well, then how much for a NY sirloin with side of mashed potatoes and salad, and an entire cheesecake for dessert?" The bartender replies, $5. The guy, still amazed, then orders everything, and after he is done eating his meal, then says, "Wow, this place is amazing. I really wish I could meet the owner of this place." The bartender then says, "Oh well, he's upstairs in his office with my wife." The guy looks all confused, then asks, "What is he doing upstairs in his office with your wife?" The bartender then says, "The same thing I'm doing to his business." A psychiatrist was conducting a group therapy session with 3 young mothers and their small children. "You all have obsessions," he observed. To the first mother, he said, "You are obsessed with eating. You've even named your daughter Candy." He turned to the second mom. "Your obsession is money. Again, it manifests itself in your child's name, Penny." At this point, the third mother got up, took her little boy by the hand and whispered, "Come on, Dick, let's go." A cowboy walks into a bar and takes a seat next to a very attractive woman. He gives her a quick glance, then causally looks at his watch for a moment. The woman notices this and asks, "Is your date running late?" "No," he replies, "I just got this state-of-the-art watch, and I was just testing it." The intrigued woman says, "A state-of-the-art watch? What is so special about it?" The cowboy explains, "It uses alpha waves to talk to me telepathically." The lady says, "What is it telling you now?" "Well, it says you're not wearing any panties." The woman giggles and replies, "Well, it must be broken because I am wearing panties." The cowboy smiles, taps his watch and says, "Damn thing's an hour fast." This beautiful woman one day walks into a doctor's office and the doctor is bowled over by how stunningly awesome she is. All his professionalism goes right out the window. He tells her to take her pants, she does, and he starts rubbing her thighs. "Do you know what I am doing?" asks the doctor. "Yes, checking for abnormalities," she replies. He tells her to take off her shirt and bra. She takes them off. The doctor begins rubbing her breasts and asks, "Do you know what I am doing now?" She replies, "Yes, checking for cancer." Finally, he tells her to take off her panties, lays her on the table, gets on top of her and starts having S*** with her. He says to her, "Do you know what I am doing now?" She replies, "Yes, getting her pies. That's why I am here." Joe is on his last day at work as a mailman. He receives many thank you cards and monetary gifts along his route. When he gets to the very last house, he is greeted by a gorgeous housewife who invites him in for lunch. Joe happily accepts. After lunch, the woman invites him up to the bedroom for some dessert. Joe happily accepts again. When they are done, the woman gives him $1. Joe asks what the dollar is all about. The woman replies, "It was my husband's suggestion. When I told him that it was your last day at work, he told me FK him, give him $1. The lunch was my idea." A few days after Christmas, a mother was working in the kitchen listening to her young son playing with his new electric train in the living room. She heard the train stop and her son said, "All of you sons of bitches who want off, get the hell off now, cause this is the last stop. And all of you sons of bitches who are getting on, get your asses in the train, cause we're going down the tracks." The mother went nuts and told her son, "We don't use that kind of language in this house. Now I want you to go to your room and you are to stay there for 2 hours. When you come out, you may play with your train, but I want you to use nice language." 2 hours later, the son comes out of the bedroom and resumes playing with his train. Soon the train stopped, and the mother heard her son say, "All passengers who are disembarking from the train, please remember to take all of your belongings with you. We thank you for riding with us today and hope your trip was a pleasant one. We hope you will ride with us again soon." She hears the little boy continue, "For those of you just boarding, we ask you to stow all of your hand luggage under your seat. Remember, there is no smoking on the train. We hope you will have a pleasant and relaxing journey with us today." As the mother began to smile, the child added, "For those of you who are pissed off about the 2-hour delay, please see the bitch in the kitchen." A man is lying on the beach, sunbathing, wearing nothing but a cap over his dick. An ugly woman is passing and remarks, "If you were a gentleman, you would lift your hat for a lady." He replies, "If you were any sort of lady, the hat would lift itself." Guy, can I buy you a drink? Girl, sorry, but alcohol is bad for my legs. Guy, do they swell? Girl, number they spread.